morning, jewelry makers. It's nice to see you. Well, as soon as I see who's popped in, it'll be nice to see you. It's Tracy here at TierraCast, and Julie here is with me. She's going to be watching for comments and posting links and all that good stuff. And we have a favorite jewelry demo for you today. These are earrings that I made. We call them Sierra earrings. And we made these a few years ago when we were doing a lot of collections of our, we called them at the time the U collection. And then with each subsequent addition to the collection, we called them You Asked, because we did some that people customers had requested, and we called some U2, and then we did some nature themed ones and called them Your World. So it was a fun little period of product launches. And this was one of the pairs of earrings we did with the Your World, trying to get them close enough for you guys to really see them. And so it's a fairly simple project. It's wire wrapped. We're using 20 gauge wire. We're using some of our spacers and some faceted fire polished Czech glass beads. And I've got a couple of variations set up to show you too. And I want to get to the TierraCast homepage so I can actually see your comments. So give me a second to do that. And also share this video to a couple of groups. And in a second, I'll be able to see who's popping in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Julie. Hi.
Hi. This was the smoothest I ever got on your Facebook.
No, it didn't run.
I've seen everybody from the beginning, and we have all the crazy cast of characters.
Oh, and I need to make sure we're in gallery views so that we're not popping back and forth with the audio.
I don't think it is. No, it's smooth. Tracy, uh-oh. We better not jinx it. Jinx it.
I know. We do have to be careful. I saw the video for the briefest second, and I saw, hi, Marika's here, and Sabrina's here, and Sophia, and Angela. Hi, everyone. It is always really, really, really nice to see you guys. I'm close enough for you guys to really see them. Whoops. And if I click play, because I want to see what's happening on the stream, then the volume always pops on, so I have to turn that off. So anyway, we're good to go. Julie's here. You guys are all here. Good morning, Shipwreck Beads. Is that Tara or Beth? It's nice to see you guys. Let's switch the camera. Unless there's something that questions or anything real interesting to talk about, let's get right to it. The original version, we used the tree charm and some of our faceted spacers and 6x9 fire polish, and I used 20 gauge wire. So that's what I'm going to kind of follow that that pattern, and that going to follow the original pretty closely, but we could switch up the palette a little bit. Or not, or at least maybe the charm. Maybe I'll use the lotus charm for this one. And I've got lots of pretty fire polish beads to choose from too.
It's Beth that's here from Shipwreck.
Hi, Beth. Hope you are feeling well. Let's see. So what we need for this project, if I look at the part list, it will definitely make it easier for me. And Julie, there's already a link in the heading of the event, but Julie may want to post that for you guys again. And then that link will also take you to the downloadable project sheet on the inspiration page of the website. So
I posted it right when you started, but I have a question for you. Is this something you would like me to post a couple times during the demo?
You know, if it comes up, I mean, if the post is there, then people can see it. So I'm going to share this to a couple of our groups, Julie. So let me do that real quick.
Because I do know some people join later, and I just wonder if it might be nice to put it in a couple more times.
It is easier for people, I think. I'm sorry, multitasking. It is easier, I think, for people to have it multiple times rather than have to scroll through the feed to look for it again.
Right. I think I'm going to do that then. Let's
Okay.
make it easier.
Yeah. And I'm again trying to share this to some of the groups that we are involved in.
Yeah, well, this is a good time to let people know that we are in a few different groups, and one of them is Mojo, which was started because we weren't able to do shows. So we were missing everybody. So we started the virtual show, but that's for wholesale only. So then we did a consumer-based Facebook also. You can tell I'm talking about something I'm not that familiar with.
Well,
Tracy, you're gonna have to.
We did the group for, and as we're talking, I'm looking at the different groups to make sure I'm sharing to the right place. We did the different groups because back in the winter when we couldn't go to Tucson, we put together a virtual show for our wholesale customers and we collaborated with some other wholesale vendors in the jewelry world. So we collaborated with Beadalon and Leather Cord USA and Dakota Stones and who else? Jesse James Beads, Impress Art, and
Sculpey this time.
They weren't part of the original show. So that was our winter answer to
Tucson.
Sorry, typing. We're live with a
I'm trying to distract all the people while you do what you're doing. Yeah, so we basically sent our customers Tucson in a box, and they got their drinks and their snacks, even their mimosas, and a fabulous
mimosas,
a fabulous little play table. So, but we also know that we want to support our the people that use our products that might not be qualified for wholesale. So we also have the Mojo 2 group now.
Yes, and that one's just for the end users. That's for all the jewelry makers out there. So,
yes.
So I wanted to share I try to share these videos, and we're also members of the Great Bead Extravaganza, which
Absolutely.
is also kind of a big online bead show with more retail people. So I try to share. Sorry, multitasking. What color wire should I?
I actually don't think you are multitasking. I think you're doing one thing at a time intermittently.
Trying to decide what color wire should I use while I'm trying to talk about the different groups we participate in.
Maybe your viewers should choose the wire color.
I already decided. I'm going with
well, there you go.
Silver this time. The originals are brass, but I'm going to go with silver, I think. I'm still going to use the brass charm, but the thing is, the part list is here, so people can mix and match their finishes and their Czech glass beads however they want. So 20 gauge silver wire, you know what? I've got a big giant roll right here. Let me just and that one's already open and ready to go.
You can never go wrong with silver.
Right. And I I started to talk about the list of what this project needs. 20 gauge wire, as you already know. We're using some of our, we call them symbol charms. They were when we launched them, they were all part of our U collections, and they are a series of charms with opposed loops rather than loops that are strung this way, so you can add a jump ring to a charm. These ones are opposed so that you can string them right onto cord or wire or what have you. So I'm using some of those charms. I'm using some of our hex spacers. These are one of my favorite spacers, Julie. They've been in the TierraCast lineup for a very long time. They're just little, have little hex shape. So yeah. They're just fun. They're an interesting shape. And they're my go-to quite a lot.
I want to let you know, Tracy, that we've got Sarah from Beadaholic here. And Sarah, for our viewers that our jewelry makers can know that we have Shipwreck and Beadaholic, and they are both fabulous.
Fabulous customers of ours.
Yeah, great sources for all your beading needs.
That's true. All the retail stuff. And if this is Sarah that's listening, Sarah, I sent you an email a few months ago. You're going to have to fish for it. Either that or I can forward it again to you. It was about some projects we were talking about doing.
I told you, she said text.
I know, but that's just so not in my normal routine that I kept going, oh yeah, I should text her. And then I'm like, no, I sent her an email. She'll get it. And then, yeah.
You have to text her that you sent her an email.
So I've got an 8-inch piece of 20 gauge craft wire. I used some nylon jaw pliers to straighten those. You could also use beetle-ons
Love
wire
that.
tool. If you guys aren't familiar with this, it's a clever tool.
I love it.
It's like a little hinge thing, and you place your wire lengthwise in there, and then you just fold it up and pull it along, and it works very well. And this is a good thing to do a little straightening on this wire, because it also, while you're straightening it, it's wire hardening it. And we do want this wire to hold its shape. So a little wire hardening is a good thing. And then I'm going to measure about 3.5 inches. I don't know if you could see that or if I was off camera, but about 3.5 inches. And I'm just going to kind of use my thumbnail and bend the wire up about 90 degrees. Something else we need for this project is little 2mm crimp tubes. These are our crimp tubes. They're 2 by 2 millimeter. And now I've got a bent wire, 3.5 inches on this side and about 4.5 on this side. And I'm on the long edge, I'm going to thread on one of my crimp tubes. I should have talked about what kind of tools we also need for this project. So you already saw that I used a wire straightening tool. I'm going to need some chain nose pliers. I need round nose pliers or bail making pliers. And as we get to this, there's a good reason I chose the bail making as opposed to the round nose. I'll tell you that when we get there. And I also need some wire cutters. And let's see. I think that's it. Okay, so I've folded my wire, and as I did that, I lost my crimp tube. So we're gonna string that back on. Oh, there are more tools. Crimping pliers, and these ones are the little ones. And I'm going to use the front notch of the crimping pliers to grab that. I'm not going to use the rear notch that actually curves the crimp tube around. I just want to use the front notch because I'm just squeezing it into place. So I'm going to tuck it right up into that corner and squeeze that until it is secure to the wire. It's just going to hold everything from sliding around the end. And you can see there, I didn't squeeze it quite enough. So I'm bringing it back, squeezing it a little more, and I'm wiggling it to make sure it's secure. All right, so I have my crimp tube on, and now I'm going to string on my pattern of little spacers. I'm going to take one of the silver hexes, one of the 3, and that's a 4mm bead. And then I'm going to take a 3mm disc bead. And this is one is in our brass ox finish. That's one of the nice fun things about this design is that it's a mixed metal. So we're going to be, we're mixing up the different finishes.
It just makes everything look so much richer.
It's interesting. It adds interest. Yeah. So I've got 4, 3, 4 and my fire polish bead. And then I'm going to repeat that 4, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to string on my charm. And then I'm going to repeat that whole pattern on the other side of the charm. And finish with a second crimp tube. And once I get that second crimp tube on, I'm going to bend the wire up like I did on the other side. And I do want to try and make sure that I'm bending it as close to the same angle as possible, just so that they'll line up later when I'm doing my wrapping. I have it folded, and now I'm going to take my crimping pliers again. Is that my computer making a bunch of noise?
It's got to be.
Huh. Let me just shut the email program down because that's what's happening. I'm getting email. Okay.
Yeah, I just shut mine down because I heard it dinging.
Yeah, okay. So taking my crimping pliers again and squeezing that into place. Oh, here's the suspense part, Julie. Remember how we always like to add a little suspense to our demos?
Have to have it.
Okay, so that's squeezed into place and all my beads are in place. And you can see, did this happen on intentionally or with wear? You can see that that one is kind of bent down a little bit.
I like it.
Yes, you can do that. You can curve that a little bit. We'll do that after. If I decide to do that, we'll do that after.
Tracy, confess how much you wear these.
Say that again? Oh,
You have to confess how much wear they've had.
They have gotten a lot of wear, but they're not an everyday pair for me, because if I'm wearing a pair of earrings like this and I'm flipping my hair out of my way during the day, I get my fingers stuck in it. So they're a more for dressy occasions. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm crisscrossing the wire ends above that that lower strand of beads. And here's where I can decide how tall I want these earrings. So I can either make it a very short little triangle, which, given what we were just talking about, maybe for me, the shorter ones would be better because I wouldn't catch my finger in them as much. Or you can make it a little bit longer. You don't really want to go taller than like 1.5 inches though, unless you've cut yourself a longer length of wire and have more to work with for your wrap. So I'm just going to go, and in theory also, it might be a very good idea to measure, because when you go to make your second earring, you want them to match, right? Or not, but you know, it'd be good if they did. So I've bent one side of that wire up, and I'm kind of matching up the edges, making sure they're the same length, and I'm bending the other one up. So now I've got a shape kind of like this. I want to bend those wires a little bit closer together so that they are meeting. And the project sheet does have has little figure images to help you with those parts of the earring construction.
Tracy, you are such an amateur. I just measured the hoops I'm wearing in my ears, and they're 3 inches.
Well, I know
do not struggle at all.
You're a big earring person, and I am just not.
Big hoops.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got these bent up, and now I'm taking some chain nose pliers and I'm just grabbing them both right there at the top. And I'm going to take that opportunity to double check and make sure it's a nicely shaped triangle and that the sides are the same length. So I'm gripping those with my chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to fold those 2 wires over there. And here's where the bail making pliers worked a little better than round nose pliers for this, since I'm using 2 pieces of wire. And if you're using the round nose pliers, they taper. So it's a little harder to keep the loop kind of even. So the bail making pliers are perfect for that, because the round bits are even. So I'm just taking both of those wires and rolling them over to make myself a loop. And I'm actually going to leave the pliers in the leave the pliers in the loops to kind of hold it in place while I then start wrapping. And hopefully you guys can see well. I'm just going to start wrapping both of those wires around and doing a wrapped loop on that.
I love that. That's kind of a bold wrap.
Yeah, it is. And I can grab my pliers here if I need to help me get a grip on the wire ends. And those wires were just a teeny bit uneven. So I'm stopping one and I'm continuing with the other until I have a good wrap. And then I want to trim those. And I'm paying attention to, when I'm making my wrap, I want to pay attention to which is the front of the earring, because I want to finish my wraps on the back side.
You made that look pretty easy.
Well, you know, craft wire's fairly soft. I mean, we straightened this one and hardened it a little bit, but it's still pretty easy to manipulate. All right, now here, I'm going to switch to, I happen to have also on my workbench a pair of Mighty crimping pliers, which just have they're bigger. They're for bigger crimps, and what I'm going to use the front notch for right now is just to straighten up this wrapped loop. Because I can kind of grab the wire with that rounded notch and just tidy everything up.
Do you have to be careful not to get the plate peeled, or not peeled, but flaked off from?
No, the craft wires, and we work with different craft wires. The big roll I was working with, it was the artistic wire, and then I also have some soft flex, and I have some ParaWire too, which I don't use as often, but I find them pretty reliable. They hold up well.
Good. Well, that's great to know.
So I'm getting to that piles of tools mode.
Jewelry makers love tools.
That's true.
More the merrier.
Yeah, so that's it. It feels like a teensy bit crooked to me, but I'm just being particular. And now we've got our wrapped loop done, and here's where I could shape the triangle a little bit. I could pull that center down a little bit if I want a curve, which I do like.
Yeah, I like it.
It's nice. And then the original pair has some niobium ear wires in our brass finish, which is real nice. But since I'm using silver wire, I'm just going to use some of our silver filled ear wires.
Now, and that's an interesting thing to talk a little bit about. I don't think we've ever talked about silver filled before.
Oh, it's possible you're right. We use niobium so much in the demos.
And sterling. Most of, sterling's really what harkens back to our, roots.
Yes.
Silver filled is a fairly recent.
We only added the silver filled probably about 5 years ago, huh?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so we have the point being, we have sterling silver ear wires in a wide variety of styles. And then we also have silver filled, and not in as many styles, more of just our best selling styles. So that's just something to watch for on our website, is that we have sterling and silver filled.
We have 7 styles of silver filled.
So that's the whole of that construction. It's pretty easy. Now, I'm just going to start a second one. I'm not going to put the whole thing together, but the trick for the second one is making sure that I can talk.
It's that faux multitasking you're famous for.
Matching. I want to match the lengths. So, and that can be a little bit tricky. So I'm actually it's been so long since I made these. I don't really remember how I addressed it. So I'm actually gonna just experiment a little bit. So I'm bending up, and we're just gonna pretend that all of our beads are on there. I'm not even gonna, well, maybe that's silly. I better go ahead and string the beads, because then I have a complete pair, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't really take that long, so.
I will take this pair off your hands.
Oh, and I need to get another one of those brass lotus beads, if they're gonna match anyway.
Yeah, when it comes to charms, I kind of like them to match. Although that ohm one would work in front of you.
Yes, it would. Then it would be kind of a thematic thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just to repeat the whole process: crimp bead, 4, 3, 4. fire polish.
Am I seeing black she's hex beads there?
No.
Okay.
Copper. I have copper, gold, and silver in hex. Do we have hex beads in 27 finish?
I am looking right now. On my screen, they look like you've got the little black ones, which I love mixed in when we have them. Okay, where's the dang spacers? I'm finding them. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Oh, you know what, Julie? On the original pair, no, those are brass. They're a little bit dark. They could have possibly have fooled us into thinking they were black, but
we do not offer them in the brass. They are in the silver plate, the rhodium, which if we have them, we have them. Otherwise, we'll have to wait for the new finish. Right. And the copper and the gold.
I strung all my beads all efficiently and then realized I forgot the charm. So
too much talking.
I don't know if I can get that in. Yep, I got it.
Amanda's asking if that's 20 gauge wire, and I believe you said it was.
Yes. Okay, guys, here's something to pay attention to. So I need to have strung all my beads on the long edge, not the short edge. And I strung them all on the short edge. So much for the quick second earring.
It's pretty fast.
Yeah, it's fast. Besides that, it's kind of a quick demo, and I do have some variations to show, but I'm not going to put together any of the variations.
I really enjoy seeing all the different variations that you come up with because they can look so different from each other.
Yeah, same technique, same, and they can, you're right. Variations
capture a different vibe.
You know what I'm finding tricky? I keep picking, and it could be just my light. I keep picking up crimp tubes and not being able to tell if I've got brass or copper. They look the same under this light.
Yeah. Nobody else will notice. So just
use them. That'll be fine.
Let's just use something. Plus, this is a mixed metal project.
It is. Come on now. Trying to get that crimp tube down in the corner because I forgot to crimp it before I started stringing everything else.
Oh, Lynn's asking if there's a smaller variation. Lynn, yes, go back to the beginning and rewatch. And Tracy talked about how you can make them smaller or larger.
Yeah. If you decide to make them larger, you really need to give yourself more wire. And if you make them smaller, it's just a matter of making your triangle smaller. All right, so here's where it can get kind of tricky with the matching. So I'm going to just line up the original one. And I'm going to use, that was me pulling the cap of my Sharpie off with my teeth.
Ooh.
I'm going to make a little Sharpie mark so that I bend it so it'll match. So then right there is where you could have made your triangle smaller to make a smaller pair of earrings. And you could even, reduce some of the beads down here if you want it a little narrower. And as long as we've got this far, we might as well finish, right?
Yep.
So let's check and make sure they look pretty equal. Whoa, over enthusiastic bending. Okay, this one's jumpy.
I am absolutely crazy about the wrap on this with the two wires. I love how it's so bold. Just really makes a statement.
Mm-hmm. And you could even, if you added again more wire to your length, instead of going with 8 inches to start, maybe start with 9 or even longer, then you could really get crazy with your wrapping.
I love a messy wire wrap, but you're a very neat wrapper.
Sometimes it depends. If the design calls for a messy wire wrap, I love a messy wire wrap. Messy wire wraps are easier with finer gauge wire.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I always wanted TierraCast to create a bead cap that looked like a messy wire
Oh
wrap.
yeah, that would be fun.
It would.
Okay, so I think these are ready to just trim off in the back. And again, I double check to make sure that I'm finishing my wrapping at the back, just for tidiness, so the front looks nice. And then I'm going to use my crimping pliers to tuck those. You can also use chain nose pliers for this. And just straightening up my loop. During the process, this one side got a teeny bit bent out of shape. So I'm just now using my fingers really to straighten that back out. I could grab that with the nylon jaw pliers too. Hey, that crimp bead needs a little more love right there in that corner. Now that the earring is put together, it wouldn't be a big deal if these crimp beads were not secure, because if it slides, gravity is going to keep the beads down at the bottom. But especially while I'm putting these together, I found it really kind of crucial that that the crimp beads were secure. Well, now it's secure, but it's on the wrong side of the loop or wrong side of the bend. It's always something.
You're not putting enough muscle into that crimp.
I guess not. All right, and then my little ear wire. All right. So you can have this pair, Julie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excited.
Are you sure they're big enough?
They will work on my days when I want something a little subtler.
A little smaller. All right, I've got, I'm going to move some stuff out of the way, and then I have a couple of little variations to talk about, just for the fun of it. I did a variation with some of our crystal charms, just because I thought that would be fun to see. So these use, did we come out with these crystals when we were doing the U?
Yes, it was all about you. It was everything,
too.
anything you ever wanted to say about yourself, you could say with everything we came out.
Personalization.
Your birthstones, your favorite sports team,
Right.
your everything.
So these little crystal bezels that we sell empty or naked, as I like to say, and also pre-glued with birthstone colors. So I used our amethyst ones for this little design, and I used copper because copper always looks so good with purple. So that was one fun variation that I did. But this was my favorite variation, just because it's the same technique, but I made the teardrop a little rounder, and I skipped the charm entirely, and I just went with mixed metal spacers. And I adore these ones.
That's a great classic.
Yeah, I think I will put these ones, I'll take a picture of these ones. Oh, that's, speaking of messy wraps, I'll take a picture. I'll take a picture of these ones and put them on this project page as an alternative, just because it's the exact same technique. It's just it shaped the wire a little bit different, and just put the spacers on. I just love it. So.
Hey, Tracy, did you talk about the bail loop and why that's so fabulous for this?
The bail, you mean the bail making pliers?
No, the bail loop, that these charms have a bail loop, so they just feed right on. There's no need for a jump ring.
I did the opposed loop charms. I did talked about how, a traditional charm would have a loop going in line.
The jump ring.
Yes, and you'd attach a jump ring. And then these ones are opposed so that you can slide it right onto materials. I did talk a little bit about that.
Oh, well, I must have been
you were sleeping
distracted.
or putting you were
Posting a link.
You were posting a link, doing that valuable thing.
Working hard.
Yeah, so that's it, you guys. I love these. Don't you just love them?
I do.
Over the weekend, because we had a crazy busy week here last week, and I set up, I know what I'm doing for our next week's live. I know that by Friday, and I make the event on Facebook and I set it all up, and I'll not necessarily pull all my materials. I might wait for Monday for that, but I get it all set up. And we were so busy last week that it never even crossed my mind on Friday to do that. So over the weekend, I was like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I saw these earrings I had at home. So I went, oh, those are wonderful. They're not on the website yet, but I can do that on Monday. So I just came to work and gathered all the assets and got them on the website and made the event. So it was a little bit spontaneous, but I'm so happy to have these ones on the website now because they're favorites. So yay, I hope you guys enjoyed the demo. And I am going to be on vacation next week, so no demo next Tuesday. Thank you, Angela. That's our aim, is just to inspire people. And yes, Marika, you need all the spacers. We'll figure out, the week I'm back will be the day after Labor Day. Yeah, so we'll figure something out. So thank you, Julie.
You're welcome, Tracy. Thank you.
And thank you.
Enjoy your much deserved vacation.
I am looking forward to the vacation, I gotta say. Thank you, everyone. Be well. And thank you. Somebody said they'll miss us. Oh, Sabrina. Thank you. I'd like to hear that. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, and you guys be well and make pretty things. And we'll see you then. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.